Hey everybody, welcome back. How you doing? My name is Robin, for those that don't know, and this is my eclectic nest. This is a channel where you never know what you might get, but it's always going to have to do with some kind of healing, spiritual practice, um, astrology. Yay! One of my favorite subjects. Hopefully in the summer we'll get into gardening and some of the wonderful things that you can do with your fresh rosemary and thyme and what have you. I don't really have a yard. I'm going to be doing a lot of pot gardening this year, in my pot containers. But that's good. It's all right. Okay, so anyway, what I wanted to talk about today, first of all, is everybody good? And thank you for everybody for your likes and your shares and your comments. I love my community. I'm trying to get back on Facebook, my original account, so I can get my pictures back. That's not working too great. I'm waiting to hear back from them. Oh, in saying that, I just would like to apologize to everybody. I deactivated my Facebook in 2017, somewhere right after the election in 2016. And anybody that followed me or probably disfollowed me, which I don't blame you, I apologize sincerely to the basic of my soul. For no other way I can say it, for being an asshole. The longer you follow me, the more you will hear about the difference between our light, and our shadow. Yeah, well, you guys really got to see my shadow side, didn't you? And I didn't like myself very much. It wasn't really walking my walk or talking my talk as far as love, light, and happiness, huh? So that's why I got off, because I was not representing myself very well, or my values and ideals. So I thought maybe it was best that I took a break for a while. But I kind of miss you guys. And it's time to reconnect. So that's that. So please forgive me, my darling ones. I just that was something else. So one of the reasons why I decided, what followed after that, was a pretty big breakthrough for me. Anybody that has known me for a long time knows that even as a teenager, I was always I paid attention to what was going on in the political world, with our government around the world. Just part of my family. That's the way we were raised. I used to sit around and listen at the family reunions. I'd always prefer to sit around with the old people, our elders, at family reunions, and listen to what they had to say. Again, those who know me intimately are not shocked by that statement at all. But it's something that I had to let go of. Reason being is because I've come to the conclusion it's all fake. It doesn't matter. It's all about the 1%. It's not about the politics. It's all about, this is a class war. It's never been a race war. It's never been a war between the sexes. It's all about power of the few. It always has been. And I'm not playing their game anymore. So I decided to be the ideal Switzerland, a real Switzerland, and I'm neutral in this thing. I have to be. If I want to be, I'm a healer. You can't take such temporary concepts of politics and what party lines, um, and base somebody's worth off of it. You just can't. We can't. It's just not. It's one of the most superficial qualities of us. It's a way that they so easily manipulate us. And I'm not doing it anymore. Again, I apologize. I'm still active as far as caring about the environment, caring about people's rights, all rights, everybody's rights. I care. I just want people to be healthy and happy. I just want everybody to have what I have, the chances and the breaks that I've had. That's all. That's all I'm going to say about that. So let's get on to the fun part. I got it. Let me get up here a little bit. Okay. So, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the different kinds of astrology. When you're first learning astrology, it can be very confusing because, like any other occupation, any other discipline, they have their own lingo. They have, this major piece, and a lot of things may fall underneath that umbrella with an outlier, standing over there. Now, I want to make it clear. I misspoke the other day. I have not been studying astrology for 5 or 6 years. I got my first astrology reading in March of 2018 by Sujay. I guess I fell into the COVID time warp that everybody else seems to fall in, that everybody else fell into. So yeah, that's that. That's just a little disclaimer. I know it's not that important, but integrity matters to me. Yeah. All right. So when I first got my first astrology chart done, basically what it was I got done a Western natal astrology. So what that means is I gave Sujay the time of day I was born, the day I was born, and the year I was born. And she put this all into a little computer program, which is, relatively new. You got to love these astrologers, because for them to do the work before these computer programs, they drew everything by hand. They calculated everything up here. It takes time. It's almost as much work as doing a basic statistics class without computers, for any of you who's ever done that. Quite fun, let me tell you. I love statistics, actually. I was better at statistics than I was algebra. Yeah. So the type of chart that she made for me was based on Western astrology. Now, here comes the umbrella that I was speaking of. So we have astrology in the ancient times. In modern times today, what most people follow is either Western or Vedic. Vedic comes from India, and I am pretty sure that it is based off of, which I know it is, Babylonian and Egyptian astrology. They come in steps. I think it was the Egyptians, then the Babylonian, then the Hindu. I'm sure there's some overlap, like any other concepts coming from different parts of the world. And then as that went up, we have Western. Mostly what you may hear about on YouTube, what we read in our newspapers and our magazines is Western. Now, a big question with that. Why is my sun sign different in Vedic compared to Western? Well, one simple answer is that their Vedic is based off of where the actual where the planets were in what constellation at the time that you were born. Compared to Western is based off of our seasons. Okay, it has to do with the prime meridian. So from what I understand, about 2,000 years ago, if we would have done a Western chart and compared it to a Vedic chart, they would have been almost identical. As it is, the equinox, or not the equinox, yeah, the spring equinox, all the seasons, everything is shifting 1 degree westward. So they're about every 72 years, which is kind of funny because it's almost the same length of time, less, but comparable to how long it takes Uranus to go around the zodiac. Yeah, pretty good about that. So that's why it might be different. So let's take me, for example. If we do Western astrology, I am a Virgo rising, still a Taurus sun, with a Sagittarius moon. If we did Vedic, I would be a Leo rising, still a Taurus sun, but a Scorpio moon. So, but I want you to understand. I want you to understand something. One is not better than the other. We need both. They both work. I don't know how that happens. It still works. Okay. The one thing about Vedic, especially if the astrologer that you go to, a Vedic astrologer, and if they're a traditionalist, you will not have Pluto in there, you will not have Neptune in there, and you will not have Uranus in there. And I think it's pretty the same for a lot of traditional Hellenistic astrologers, which is Western astrology. Like, that is the forefather of Western astrology, is the way that I understand it. So there's that. That is the difference in the discrepancies. And as far as what I was talking about, as far as things moving 1 degree over the prime meridian, as far as things moving westward, especially the equinox, it tells you the difference. Why, like, you might look at the New York Times, your sun's horoscope, and it might say, let's take Aries, since we're talking about the equinox, right? You could go to the New York Times and it's going to say that it's from March 21st to April 21st, right? And then you go to like Elle magazine or something, and their horoscope will say that Aries is from March 20th to April 20th. Okay? That's the difference. It's not that one's inaccurate or not. It's just somebody's not shifting their basis here. Even in saying that, it's like if you're born on what they call a cusp, you cusp houses. We don't cusp signs. You could be born on April 21st at 11:39 p.m., 23:39 p.m. Oh, that was redundant. 23:39. You could be at 0 minutes or 0 degrees 0 minutes 20 seconds into Taurus. It's that's why it's very important to get an astrology chart done, so we can pin all that stuff down. It's even more important why we need your time of day that you were born, because it's just more refinement. Very important. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is 7 different types. This is just a very, very general overview, okay? So, if you have any questions, I'll help you as much as I can. Some of this stuff I'm not really into. I'm not an expert. I am becoming an expert at natal and synastry. I can throw the other in there, but the rest is you'll understand. Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about is your natal chart. The natal chart is the snapshot of you. It is a good explanation why somebody is totally a black sheep in the family. Either way, why they're different. It's because you are different. You're not your tribe. You are you. So basically that's what it is. It's a snapshot of you, your likes, your dislikes, the kind of people that you are attracted to. We could tell in your natal, like I just said, who you're attracted to, who's attracted to you. We can see illnesses. We can see where if you're a Pisces rising with Mars there, you might have a habit of stubbing your toe, when you're not being very kind, because Pisces rules the feet. We'll get into all that later, but we can tell that stuff. We can tell your profession, what you would truly be happy at. We could tell how you think. I can tell how you think. I can tell your love style. I can tell how your home was, where your hangups will be, where tension is, where your gifts are, where your true gifts are, that just take a little bit more work to dig under. That's cool. That's easy. The next kind I want to talk about, do a general overview of, is synastry. Now, what synastry is, it is about the relationship when two people come together. Husband, wife, we can do synastry. It compares the two charts together. It shows where your compatibility is, where your harmonious points are, where your points of tension are, where your points of conflict are. It can say if you two, believe it or not, it can tell you if with this relationship, if you two will be good together. Will you be able to make money together? Will you two people have children together? Will this partner add to your life in this way, or will this partner take away from your life in that way? I think I'm going to switch this now. The sun's changing on me. It's hard when you decide to use natural light and it's a cloudy day. Oh, look, my TV. Now we have the other side of the room. Yeah, that's that. So that's my favorite. It's my favorite. I'm all about love. Anybody who knows me, I'm all about love. I'm all about harmony and people getting together and what the hell's going on underneath there, What's going on in the surface there. That is very fun. I am able to do that too. Just an FYI, for any of this, it is I said this before and I'm going to say it again. It is almost essential, especially if you want the complete picture, to have the ascendant time, the time of your birth. Ask your mom. Ask your dad. If you're not able to get answers that way, look in your baby book. Look into microfilm at your local library. You can go get a rectification if you think you have a roundabout way. You have a guesstimate time People can pinpoint that for you a little more accurate. Now, synastry, it's very important because there's two types of synastry charts we can do. Here comes the umbrella again. Is the synastry chart is we can do two charts put together, and then after we're done comparing that, we can take the midpoints of sun to sun, moon to moon, and we can put that in its chart itself, and we can make up a composite chart. Let's say, you have this friend and you don't understand, you know, your friend she was with partner A, right? And it was a very loving relationship. May not have lasted long, but these people were beautiful together. Your friend just shone, right? She shined. He shined. But they got together. They broke up. She got with a different guy, and things just aren't right. It's like she's starting to lose money. She's starting to fight a lot with others. She's losing her security as a person, her worth. Very important, that, to look at the composite, because we need both ascendant times, because that in itself, birth times, because that chart itself will have an ascendant. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. That's fun stuff. It's so eerily scary. And then we can compare that composite chart to the synastry chart. But I want you to know something. Through all this, with the synastry, it's very important to realize that you have to look at the natal charts yourself and to see if you're open for love, what kind of love that you prefer. I mean, if you're an Aquarius, you're not going to want somebody calling you 10 times a day. Now, if you're a woman, a person that has Venus and Moon conjunct in Pisces, you're very much going to love to have your partner around a lot. It's so the natal chart's very important. Good basis. So the third type I want to talk about, which I already talked about, is Vedic. It comes out of India. I think there's even 3 or 4 different kinds of Vedic, depending on the territory within that country. But it's basically Hindu. It's the chart's set up different. Where ours is circular, theirs is rectangular with triangles. Like I said, it follows the constellation, where ours follows our seasons, our Western seasons. And again, like I told you, most of them do not deal with Pluto, Uranus, or Neptune, which later on I'll explain to you the importance of those planets, right? The next type of astrology I want to talk to you about is medical. This is based off your natal chart. They can do it in Hindu, in the sidereal, which is the other word for the Vedic. So it is believed, and I have seen it with my own eyes, that each astrology chart, that each astrology sign rules a body part. Okay? So, let's use me for an example. I told you in my intro that I'm very proud of my breast size, right? So, my moon is in the 4th house. That is the house of Cancer. Cancer rules the breast. Okay? My moon conjuncts, that means between 0 and 10 degrees, they're basically on top of each other. is conjunct my moon. Neptune makes things disappear. Can make things disappear. They disappeared, everybody. I don't I'm a small-breasted girl. There's people that I know that have it's very funny, right? Um who somebody has Neptune right on top of their chart, in Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules the hips, the buttocks. They have no butt, you know. They are known for not having a butt. Again, Neptune makes things disappear. It's quite funny. It's 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 incredible. It's incredible how accurate it can be. It's so literal sometimes, Um, Yeah, but with the medical, what they can do is we can see where some of your hangups might be, where your tight spots, where you carry your stress, when you're heartbroken, when things aren't going your way as far as where you think your ego should be taking you. You could have pain there. Like me, when I'm all tensed up, or really heartbroken, I'll start getting pain in my hips. It's just where Sagittarius. That's where we carry it. Sagittarius rules the hips. It's so when I'm heartbroken, sometimes it's like my lower back. Right, my pelvis. It's like it'll just start hurting. Um, and we'll discuss that in other videos. We can see with medical where, and this is not my forte, so I'm just letting you know that the options that are out there. When illnesses are going to come on, where different, or when you may be cured. We can talk about when's a good time to get surgery and a bad time to get a surgery, which, by the way, it's all about the moon, baby. Always about the moon. It always comes back to the mother. Yeah, so there's that. A second kind, or we're what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth kind that I want to talk about is Hore. Now, this is an ancient type of astrology. Again, I believe that it does not deal with Pluto, Uranus, or Neptune. So what it is basically the inquirer, if you would go ask a question, the time that you ask and at the time that you ask that question, a chart will be cast. From there, depending on their different techniques, you'll get your answer. From what I understand now of this Hore, you cannot ask the same question within a span of 3 months because you will get wonky answers. And the reason why that is probably, well, I know, is because of Saturn and Jupiter. They move so slow. It takes 30 years, 28 to 30 years to go around the astrology chart. It takes Jupiter 12 years to go around the whole zodiac. Pretty slow moving planets, depending on this, so pretty accurate stuff there. I never got one done. But from what I understand, there's pretty positive results. The next one is called electional. So you'll say, hey, I want to go start a business, or I want to go get married, and when's the best time to do that? So what they'll do is they will cast a chart for the event that they'll cast a chart for the best time to do that. Again, it's always about the moon. You can look online. If you ever see that the moon is void course, which means that the moon in the sky is not aspecting one single planet, she's just out there floating around. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do anything when the moon's void course. It will not work. It just, there's no support for that activity on a universal level. This one girl was telling me about how her second marriage, she had everything so planned down to the minute, of when the most successful time for her and her betrothed to say their vows and to say, I do. She had it down to the minute. So far, they're still going strong. So good for you. She sees us. She knows who she is. Good stuff. Now we have come to what's mundane. Now, if you look up on YouTube and you see different, or on the internet, and you see different articles saying about this is coming down, look for this. This is coming. That's mundane. It predicts and discusses weather, elections, political elections, make or breaking of a country, worldly events, social movements, stuff like this. And I'm going to tell you, it's pretty accurate. Let's take Uranus for a moment, okay? So what we had the nuclear plant in Japan. When that nuclear meltdown happened with that earthquake, Uranus just started its trek into Aries at that time. The same exact day. Pretty ironic. The irony of it all. Uranus is shakeup. It would be the technology that gave us the nuclear power to begin with. It's progressive technology. That's all Uranus. When Uranus was discovered is when electricity, it was the same time that electricity was discovered. How for us to harness that. Pretty neat shit. Pretty neat stuff, Uranus, when Uranus touches your chart anywhere or touches anything in a mundane, it's going to be quick. It's going to be sudden. It's going to be, earth-shattering. Earthquake. It really caused a lot of it. Uranus causes chaos. Let's not talk about the impracticality and the common sense of building a nuclear power plant on an island that's prone to major earthquakes. We're not going to talk about that. That's just my Virgo coming out. Okay. So yeah, when the big earthquake that happened in Hawaii, there's about the same time that Uranus went into Taurus, which is very important. I know, yes, earthquake, but the thing about that with Taurus is a fixed sign, slow and steady sign. And that volcano, when the volcano erupted, it was a volcano, right? Hawaii. And it just kept going and going and going and going and going. It never stopped. The thing about that is it extended that island. It made some of those islands bigger. Very Taurian thing. Let's add more Earth. Earth, Taurus is the first Earth sign in the zodiac. It's the manifestation of the material. No surprise there. Uranus is in Taurus still. I mean, it's going to be there probably for about another 5 years. Up and coming cryptocurrency. Taurus is about money. Like I just said, it's about material. It's about your wealth. It is about what you value. At the heart of the archetype, though, of Taurus, it's basically what you value and how you value yourself. But that's a higher Taurian concept. But at the at the lower levels, it's, I want the Chardonnay, I want, it's your likes, it's your dislikes. It's ruled by Venus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. It's the foods that you like. It's the music that you like. It's how you perceive yourself. But it's currency, you know. It's funny because if you follow it 80, like I said, about 80 years, it takes about 80, it's an 80-year cycle, more or less, give or take 80, 82 years of Uranus to come back. Us, anybody that's around my age, 73, I think it's about 68 to, about 69 to about 77. Yeah, that'd be about 7-8 years. We all have Uranus in Libra. What was going on in the 70s, all the breakups and marriages. People weren't putting up living in miserable ways anymore, So anyway, back to my original point, how accurate some of this can be with the mundane 82 years ago about what was going on 82 years ago. We were still in the Depression. At the beginning of all that, 29, it was going in and out. It's the stock market crash, right? 29, the Depression hit about 32, 33, right? Yeah. Yes, and I realize it's 90 years. 22, 80, be about 40. But that's the beautiful thing too, and what started coming on about there too, is the material complex. It's like the material complex, World War II helped us to get out of the Depression. Okay. Let's go 80 years before that. We got about 1850. What was going on then? We have the abolitionists. The last time, in the 1800s, when Uranus was in Taurus, this is when the abolitionists were coming up. This is when us as a country were really thinking hard about the worth of humans. Of the value, the correctness of humans being a commodity. Being sold and traded as like cattle, like corn, the young female slave, was a lot more, had a lot more worth, right, than that 50-year-old field hand, not good business. And we, if you go back, we could go on and on and on and on. It's quite incredible. Yeah, that's that. So let's get back to the basic of the natal chart, and let's talk about the ascendant. We're going to take this nice and slow. In some different astrologies under the umbrella of Western astrology, which I practice, there's several. There's esoteric, there is evolutionary. Esoteric is, they believe that the ascendant represents the soul. Okay. In general, it is the point of magnetism. Which makes sense. It's when you took your first breath. It's you are here. You're here. You're born. It's drawn to your place in this time, in this life. Pretty neat stuff. The same with evolutionary. But evolutionary, though, goes more on talking about the archetype of you and why you came here, and the trauma and the baggage that you come. It's based off of like reincarnation. I love it. I love it. So if it helps discuss, your phobias, your fears, the what you have to learn, the baggage that you have to let go so your soul can move on and evolve to become the higher form of what you're created to be. Because don't forget, folks, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, not the human beings having a spiritual experience. It's the other way around. The Ascendant, like I said last night, hopefully, it's your mask. It's your persona. It's how you are perceived in your first impressions. Although, me personally, I go more on not so much the mask. I go on more that it's your soul. It's your soul. It's who you are. Because the other side of that axis, everything, the astrology chart set up like an axis, so on the other, it's like a crosshairs. The Western astrology chart set up with like a crosshairs. It's east, west, south, north. And I know that I did it backwards, but that's the way that it's set up. Because on the other end of that ascendant is the descendant. That's your relationships. That's the people that it talks about your partners, your marriage partners, your business partners, your enemies, your open enemies. The 12th house talks about your hidden enemies. It's so with that, I go more. It's more than a mask. It represents your soul. Again, back to my intro, I'm a Virgo ascendant. Mercury rules Virgo. Learning, communication is very important. Health is very important to me. My analytical mind is very important to me. I mean, all of you've probably, heard me say it. Well, that doesn't make sense. That why are you doing it that way? That nitpicky Virgo that I discussed last night. I'm getting better. It only took 48 years, but it's getting better. Yeah, it discuss. It's more than that. As I said, Aries ascendant, they always seem like they're ready to go charge. Aries is the soldier. It's the ram, it's the first sign. Here I am. It's all about activity. It's about the soldier, it's about the boy, a boy. It's young man. It's fire. Any of those people that leap before they think, those talkers, that could be, somebody with Mars and Aries, or Mars an aspect to somebody's Mercury. That makes people talk a lot. Yeah, your ascendant sign. So that's very neat, because it's like in synastry, did you ever meet somebody and you're like, you got a first impression, right? And you're just like, oh, like Virgo, like me, you first meet me, somebody's like, oh, she's very analytical. She, seems like a know-it-all. She blah, 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 whatever it might be. But the people that know me, they also know that, it's, I'm a very warm person, um, very loving, that there's more to me than just, my analytical mind. But again, that's That's based off the actual time that you were born. So what that means is the time that you were born, like me, I'm not going to tell you the time I was born. It's just bad mojo. But the time that I was born, with me being a Virgo ascendant, it means that the time that I was born, that Virgo was rising. It was in the eastern horizon. The sun rises from the east. The moon rises from the east. Everything rises from the east. So the time, if you hear somebody saying that I'm a Scorpio rising, all that means is that the time of day that they were born, that Scorpio was on the horizon. And it's very important. The ancients thought that the ascendant sign was very important, as I told you in another video, because it tells you your chart ruler. And the reason why that it's so important and that it's so specific is because it changes. Every 4 minutes, it moves 1 degree. And that 1 degree matters because that can mean the difference of being a 29 degree Cancer compared to a 0 degree Leo. It's a totally different person, totally different person. It could be, the Cancer 29, it's an Antarctic degree, could be very moody. It's washed out. It's tired. They say it's tired when it gets to the lower degrees, or the higher degrees. Yeah, I guess that's something I should talk about, huh? Compared to the 0 degree of Leo, they're going to be raring to go. That's going to be the one that likes to have their friends, likes to party, likes to have their hobbies. It's always about a good time. It's all about me. Really, Leo, it's really not all about you. There's more of us here. Yeah. So I guess let's go back a little bit. I want to talk about how the chart's set up. The chart is set up. The Western chart, astrology chart, is set up 360 degrees. And I want you guys to know something. I was horrible at geometry in high school. Horrible. It's I didn't understand it. It was a very abstract thing. Some reason I'm playing with astrology and the astrology chart. There's degrees 60 to the 90 and what it means from 47 degrees, 45 degrees. It all makes sense to me now. I really wish things would be different. I wish they would teach, because I get it. It's just my learning style. It gave me, it made it tangible to me. I wasn't exactly like a carpenter and going out and needing to, find the area to cut out a window on this 5x5 wall. You know what I mean? Or 5x5 wall. 10 by 10, I guess. 5x5. It's a hobbit house. Looks like my hobbit house. Yeah. So there's that. Okay, so the astrology chart is 360 degrees. Each sign has 30 degrees. There's 12 signs. 30 times 12 is 360. Easy peasy. It's cut up in 4 quadrants. Like I said, it looks like a crosshairs. So the first quadrant goes from the first house to the 4th. The second goes from the 4th to the 7th to the 10th, which, right? We have your ascendant to descendant from your 1st to the 7th, right? Then it goes up to the 10th, which goes from the 10th to the 4th, back down to the ascendant, crosshairs. The ascendant, think of it, let's go back to the seasons. Let's go back to just a general astrology chart to begin with. It goes from Aries to Cancer, okay? Spring to summer. From Cancer to Libra, summer to fall, okay? from Libra to the 10th to Capricorn, fall to winter, back to spring. Okay, back to Aries. Very simple. So if very simple. Yeah. So there are basics of astrology, Robin style. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you understand it. Click like, subscribe, and share. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and I can help you. If I need to make another video because you guys don't understand, or if I didn't make something clear, which is very possible, please just let me know. And as always, peace and shalom.